We had such an amazing response to my appearance in the kitchen yesterday that I thought I might take up ironing today. All these good new skills that I'm learning during this period of lockdown. That's what we're going to talk about today, actually. Good things from coronavirus. Some of you may be really struggling today. Tomorrow we're going to look at that struggle in more detail, but today I want more positively to focus on the good things that might have come out of corona. And I don't just mean if you're a shareholder in Amazon or Zoom, and clearly you've benefited enormously from the lockdown. I mean 25% reduction in crime across the developing world. Particularly actually quite high here in the UK. A&E admissions down about the same amount, by about a quarter. Pollution incredibly reduced. So a number of major positives about this whole thing. Someone said to me the other day, at least we're not talking about Brexit all the time. So there are some national and even business blessings from coronavirus. Of course, it's a horrible thing. But some good things have inadvertently come from it. The story of Joseph in the Bible is one I often think about when I think about a bad thing, but God bringing a good thing out of it. Joseph's brothers were terrible to him. Kidnapping and almost murder, actually, was on their minds. Selling him into slavery, the worst possible kind of siblings. And yet Joseph doesn't take it out on them. In fact, he sees a greater good in it all, because though he was sold into slavery, though he finds himself in prison, though all bad things happen to him, he's in the right place to rescue the Egyptians, to help them during a time of famine and difficulty. Indeed, in our reading today, in Genesis chapter 50, and just looking at these verses from 19 to 21, you'll see what he said when the brothers fearfully came to him. Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. I'm not in the place of God. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. "You might have intended this for evil," says Joseph, "but God meant it for good. He made good come. He didn't send the virus, don't get me wrong. God hates the suffering that goes along with it, as many of us do. But he's bringing some good out of it." Interestingly, a number of people have said to me how they've connected with their family via the internet and phone in far greater ways than they normally speak to their family. We've spoken to our children, grandchildren, they say, every day. Before the lockdown, it might have been once a week, if that. So families are reconnecting in good and positive ways. People are learning how to connect using this new regime of virtual connectivity. And there's some good things in that. Hopefully some relationships are being strengthened. People who haven't had time for each other, perhaps husbands and wives, parents and children, who've neglected each other, actually, in the busyness of life, are finding in this time of containment, they're re-evaluating their relationships. So let's pray that God brings good for the world out of this situation. Of course, we want the church to be refreshed and renewed in its mission activity, and we'd like the church to be able to help the world be a kinder, gentler, more loving place, a better place for both the planet and the people of the planet. And I pray that it'll be good for you. Perhaps a new hobby or a new skill or a time to reevaluate what's important to you when lockdown is lifted. So today, in the badness of this situation and the sheer difficulty of a virus that's so horrible, may today we find the good that God can bring from that, both personally, as a church, and in the world. And let's celebrate the good things. And let's ask God to continue to bring good out of this evil situation, just as he did for Joseph all those years ago.